Welcome to Sat Chats Rehash, the Bitcoin podcast where we chatting about sats. We are going to be going over episodes number 29, 30, and 31, their major themes, some key takeaways so that you can decide if you want to go back and listen to these episodes. We're also going to be cleaning up our side of the street and tackling any open conversational threads. I'm your host, Stuart Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, proud multi-coiner, Bitcoin smash buyer. Stop what you're doing, whatever it is. Go to YouTube, smash the subscribe button for Sat Chats. We're giving away 1 million sats to one of the first 1,000 subscribers and starting a live show Friday morning, 10 a.m., but not until we get to 1,000. So go make it happen.
There's only something like there's like less than 450 slots left for the 1 million sats giveaway.
Less than that now, yeah.
So don't sleep on this. If you've listened to more than one episode, just hit the subscribe. It ain't that bad.
No.
Get yourself a chance to win these 1 million sats.
Doesn't hurt.
And remember, each time one of our satillionaires does smash that subscribe button, a brand new Bitcoiner gets his laser eyes.
Yep.
So let's jump into number 29, John. He was an old man out in Arizona or New Mexico. He had that entrepreneurial vibe. If you can remember, he had written some books on Bitcoin, crypto, some teaching courses and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
He was the one who was like, he was the one that really like blew my mind around. If you're a worker, then you're only going to give as much to your employer as you need to stay employed.
That's right.
And if you're the employer, you're only going to pay your employee as much as needed to keep them from going somewhere else. So both are putting in the minimum amount, but an entrepreneur can put in the max and kind of retain all of his earnings and value.
Yeah.
I was like, dang.
Yeah, I remember that specifically. I'm trying to pull up the guy's photo because that really helps me.
Yeah, number 29.
It's hard to find in here.
So first of all, for all of our satillionaires who want to listen in order, we're going to teach Chris how to do this right now.
Oh, beautiful.
Go to the playlists.
Playlists, okay.
Right, and then Sat Chats.
Sat Chats full episode here.
There's
55 of them?
Yeah,
55 of them.
Yeah, click that little sucker.
Okay.
Now you're all juicy. Right, now we're nice, clean. It'll separate out because the main flow has the Sat Chats interspliced with Sat Chats short stacks, along with our rehashes. So it's just kind of a flow of the newest item. But we have playlists that separate out all the rehashes in order, all the short stacks in order, and all the Sat Chats in order. He's right here, number 29, Naughty Little Word Goblin.
Yeah.
The theme for John, number 29, was that Bitcoin offers a path to generational wealth and personal sovereignty in contrast to the inflationary fiat-based financial system. This is the episode where I got really hot about inflation. And we were trying to figure out how quickly does your purchasing power go to zero if it's 2% inflation per year. And we were talking about going broke every 30 or 40 years. And I was getting absolutely enraged.
Yeah, and John was loving it too. I think he knew what he was doing to you because he was just like, And you were getting more and more hyped up about it. And he was just, John's got a lot of wisdom. He strikes me as an elder statesman with the wisdom to know when he doesn't need to say anything. He could just sit there and watch you kind of spool out a little bit, which was a lot of fun. It was fun.
It's cool too to see these older types who aren't calcifying as they age. They're staying loose. They're staying open.
Yeah.
Because at his age, he had to learn about Bitcoin past 40, past 50, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not just like, okay, well, I've made my money and this is something, whatever, I don't know, I'm good. He's continuing to push. And I love when I see older types who are continuing to push and learn.
Because he was also in the recording business, right? For a while?
Yeah.
Recording and like audio recording and publishing business. which just like Miles, I think that's an interesting thread that there's got to be something to do with like the cutting edge use of technology in audio and visual recording and publishing that kind of merges in. Like these are early adopters of new technologies.
Yeah.
So it does make sense that they are into Bitcoin.
Let's look at some takeaways here. Bitcoin enables generational wealth. Heard, Chef.
Yep.
Fiat inflation is built in and destructive.
Oh, yeah. It's designed to go down.
Skepticism about Bitcoin often misses the bigger picture.
Totally.
Very interesting.
You can't just read the book cover. You got to read the whole book.
Yeah. So let's look, or if you're number 40, Anna Bevan, you can't just listen to the book cover. You have to listen to the whole book.
Yeah, listen to it. That's fine.
So some inaccuracies or mistakes from number 29, John. We talked about 2% inflation equals 100% loss in 50 years. And we were like, maybe even like 40 years because this stuff compounds. Here comes Chappie. She says that a 2% annual inflation rate leads to about a 63% reduction in purchasing power over 50 years, not 100%. And listen to this, dude. The actual formula is future value equals present value times, and then in parentheses, 1 minus the inflation rate, and then the caret symbol, years. So over 50 years, 0.98 caret 50 equals 0.364, meaning about 63.6% loss, not 100%. I mean, that is confusing.
Yeah, but it's a formula that you would learn in an economics course.
Right. But how often have we found that the traditional economics that's taught in today's world is fully busted? Because they're all about that Keynesian action. They're all about this monetary policy. Like, how much can I trust this? Because why does Michael Saylor say that the half-life of your dollar at 2% inflation is like 36 years?
I don't know.
What are his calculations?
But I've seen this number all over the place too. I mean, since we've started talking about this,
yeah.
You know how like when you learn a new word, like I've seen this quoted from multiple sources now, and it is all over the board. So I think I might have even texted you one at some point.
Okay.
Anyway, let's ask the audience. Like, what do you guys think? How would you go? What is the correct way to do this? We have Chappie's version. We've had multiple guests now with financial backgrounds who have said, yeah, that checks out. 40 years, 50 years. I've heard 90 years.
Seriously,
we'll be the first ones to say, like, we don't know for sure. But even if we follow Chappie's conservative calculation here, you're still losing 63.6% of your purchasing power over 50 years.
Yeah, and that hurts. That hurts.
It's atrocious.
It's not, no matter which way you slice it, it ain't good.
It's not good.
But if you do know how to teach me exactly how long it takes for my purchasing power to get to zero at a 2% inflation rate, hit me up in the comments, let me know. And by the way, it ain't 2% really, is it? The real inflation rate, 7 to 9%, something like that.
It's another thing. Like if you look at COVID, okay, if you're measuring inflation by the growth of or decline of the M2 money supply, during COVID for 2 years, it was like almost 20% for 2 years in a row.
Shoo.
For the last 2 years, though, it's been negative growth. So if you look at 10-year average right now, which I did this yesterday, it's something like 6 to 7% compound annual growth rate.
Okay.
Over the last 10 years. So anyway, I mean, this is a really good conversation.
Yeah.
It's foundational for the value proposition of Bitcoin to understand how all this stuff works. I love that we, on a regular high frequency, are dipping our toes into this, and we will get better and better and better and more accurate over time. But no matter how you slice it, it's a problem. And we can, with conviction, tell you, as I think almost anybody would, if you're storing dollars underneath of your mattress or in a savings account, which is basically the same thing, stop doing that. If you got extra money, buy some sort of an asset with it. Some sort of an asset. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin. We think that's the best asset, but buy assets. That's what people who retain wealth do.
Yeah.
So,
And not only do we think it's the best asset, we know it's the best asset.
all right, let's go to the next one.
No utility in gold. Someone at some point in his episode said there's no utility in gold. Quick clarification, gold does have industrial and technological utility, especially in electronics, dentistry, and aerospace. While minor compared to its monetary use, it's not accurate to say it has no utility.
Whatever, nerd.
So number 30, Tristan was the French man who was teaching economics in Spain, along with China and sometimes in Germany.
The international man of mystery.
His theme was Bitcoin as a business tool, especially for international transactions. So we have some echoes there with number 20, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
3 takeaways. Bitcoin can solve inefficiencies in global trade. Love that. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin's volatility is distinct from its long-term value, which means, look, it might go up, it might go down, it might go sideways, but on the long term is goo. And wider adoption by businesses hinges on circular usage. So,
meaning I can pay you with it, you can accept it, I can then you can pay me back with it, and is that what you mean by that?
Yes. Basically, a Bitcoin economy is a circular economy, just like any economy where a medium of exchange is viable. Mm-hmm. I should be able to pay you in Bitcoin, and then you should be able to pay Jeremy in Bitcoin, and then Jeremy should be able to pay me in Bitcoin, and then I pay you in Bitcoin.
Yeah, because what's happening now is, like, as an intermediary to each of those steps, there has to be an exchange to some other medium of exchange, right? Like, I've got to take my Bitcoin, convert it into dollars, pay you with the dollars, and you got to take those dollars and you have to convert it back into Bitcoin if you wish to do that. Mm-hmm. Then if you want to pay someone else, you got to take your Bitcoin that you just converted into, then convert that back into some currency. And that just creates this, it's a lot of friction.
Well, and it's also like this concept of, okay, here in Raleigh, we've got the Beltline. And it's a circle that goes around Raleigh. Mm-hmm. And if you think about my monetary energy as a car driving around the Beltline, as long as we're all driving around the Beltline, it's all good. But the moment I pull off the Beltline, get onto a city street, off to a side street, and then park in front of my home, that car is just sitting there. So if you were to pay me in Bitcoin today, I might take that Bitcoin and go park it somewhere. And the circular economy is like, well, we all need to kind of be razzing and jazzing with one another. Like, I should get paid in Bitcoin, a big sum, for being the host of this show because of all that value. But then I should go to Sola Coffee Cafe, pay for my coffee in sats.
Yeah.
I should pay my my home renovation should be paid in Bitcoin, so that it all keeps flowing, because if it's flowing, you've got an economy on your hands. Mm-hmm. If it ain't flowing, it's more like a store of value.
Yeah.
The trick is that even as a store of value, it's still going to flow, but only when someone's ready for it to flow into something truly valuable.
Right.
And a lot of people get hung up on the fact that stuff needs to be flowing all the time.
So the point here is that wider adoption by businesses hinges, or the hurdle to that happening is this circular usage concept that we're describing right now.
Yeah, businesses should be able to do business with one another purely in Bitcoin.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the Chappie mistakes here.
Okay. So Bitcoin is programmed to go up. And by the way, I keep thinking about that meme you shared of me with that animated hedgehog guy who's like,
so
and like the subtitles like, Bitcoin, oh God.
So funny.
So Chappie's saying incorrect. Bitcoin is not literally programmed to go up in price. Correction, Bitcoin has a fixed supply schedule. I love those 3 words in a row because it captures that short stack we did yesterday where Bitcoin has a fixed supply, 21 million Bitcoin. It also has a fixed schedule, 50 per block, then 25, then 12. fixed supply schedule. I love when Chappie says like a big concept in only a few words.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I'm like, I wish I could memorize this because
Yeah.
I'm like walking around the whole table trying to talk about it, and she just like touches it directly.
Well, that's why we do 9 of these a week.
Yeah, we're gonna get there, dude.
It'll plant itself.
Yeah, it'll be there.
Don't worry.
So Bitcoin has a fixed supply schedule, which creates scarcity, and that can influence price appreciation if demand increases. But price is ultimately determined by the market. Well, guess what, chap? Demand is increasing. It has global utility.
Yeah.
8 billion people are slowly coming online. So like we said, it be programmed to go up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't buy her correction here.
Bitcoin is more stable than the Argentinian peso. She says partially true, but should be framed more carefully. Over longer time frames, Bitcoin has preserved value better than the Argentine peso, but it's not inherently more stable in a traditional volatility sense. Bitcoin is highly volatile short term compared to most fiat currencies, including the peso. Whatever, lady. Trustless means no trust needed. This is a good one to talk about. She says that's misleading. The word trustless came up, and even Tristan noted it doesn't mean no trust at all. Quote unquote, trustless in Bitcoin means you don't have to trust a third party like a bank, but you do still have to trust the software, cryptography, and this consensus mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that because I don't actually have to trust the software. I can inspect it for my own self.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I need to trust cryptography because that's math.
Yeah.
I don't have to trust that 2 + 2 is 4. That's
right.
Literally what it is.
It's a fact.
And I do trust the consensus because I think over any substantial group of people, you end up getting a pretty good, clean baseline idea.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
What's easier to trust? A group of 5 people that have to agree on something, or a group of 20,000 people that all have to agree on something?
Oh, definitely 20,000.
Yeah.
Especially if those 20,000 are all of their incentives are aligned to preserve each other's wealth and sovereignty.
Right.
5 people inside a government who are driven by their egos and their need for power and relay. Nah.
They're gonna be fraudulent and manipulative.
Yeah.
And all that stuff, right? I mean,
the people who run the Bitcoin nodes have a low time preference.
Yes.
The people who run our Gubernatorial highest time preference imaginable.
Yeah.
Because they just want to not lose in the next election 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
All right. Oh boy.
I'm gonna let you rip.
All right. So last one here. We got number 31, Victor. Excuse me. Now today, as you know, as we're sitting here taping this show, today is Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple things are happening today. Number one, Wednesdays are the days that I go to Trellis and I pick up flowers for my wife, Anne, and I hand deliver them to her each week. The other thing that's happening on this Wednesday is Victor is receiving his framed $50 bill that you drew laser eyes on and signed, and I signed, and then I went to FedEx. And I'm going to be honest, I probably spent I think it cost an extra $30 or $40 to make sure that $50 bill got to him as intended, because I had to get the bubble wrap. Of course, it was framed. I had to buy the box, and then I had to do, the whole shipping and everything. Anyway, Victor, $50 bill should be arriving today. Let us know if you get it, because I can't wait to see that thing on your wall in each of your episodes.
Yeah.
All right. So the theme of Victor's episode was that Bitcoin is pristine collateral, and he took us through some different ways that he uses Bitcoin, his Bitcoin holdings, to finance other parts of his life that he needs liquidity without actually selling the Bitcoin, which is what collateral is I'm going to stake this, I'm going to post this, and I'm going to pledge that I won't use it, so that whoever I'm borrowing money from can just take this thing from me if I don't pay them back. Really interesting. And I should go back and listen to that, because I'm starting to have some thoughts on on some different strategies for us here at Sat Chats on how we can maybe add some more leverage or whatever. So 3 key takeaways. Never sell your Bitcoin. Use it as collateral, right? One of the common knocks on Bitcoin is like, well, it doesn't have cash flow like other like investments that pay me dividends. And I get that. Cash flow is nice. We want cash flow from our investments. And until fairly recently, you couldn't get a whole lot of cash flow out of Bitcoin that you were holding. But now, you can pledge it as collateral. You can stake it so that a third party can go out and rehypothecate it, and then you get a piece of that interest. A little risky, but you can do that. And I think as time goes on, there will be more and more and more ways to enable you to finance your lifestyle, not sell your Bitcoin, and get the cash flow that you need.
I got to say, I struggle with that concept because it feels scary to me. Not necessarily because I don't understand how someone with wealth can do this like buy, borrow, die, Elon Musk, Jeffrey Bezos strategy. It's more that I would be fearsome that I would somehow get upside down. Like little old Stuart, my net worth ain't that high. And taking the Bitcoin I have and like putting it somewhere and getting cash out of it, how do I pay it back when it comes due? And then some people are like, you don't even got to pay it back when it comes due. You just I'm like, dude, I do not get it. It sounds scary to me.
Yeah.
I would hate to get upside down and then that have an impact on my wife and my kids. But there's a part of me that's like, dude, I would love to break through into this upper echelon of guys that are doing some wizardry with their finances and just like,
Well, here's the short answer. You can do it at any time. You probably shouldn't do it until you have a safety net. It's like going to the casino, kind of. It's a lot less risky than that. There's a lot more, there are many more ways to inform yourself about how this works, but it is risky. You shouldn't do it with your last dollar. You should have your safety net and then figure out what you can play with. And you look at your entire portfolio and kind of separate it into different classes of like not touching this. It's like the baseball scenario, right?
Yeah.
It's like you kind of have different buckets.
Okay.
Like what am I willing to risk a little bit with,
right,
in exchange for a higher potential return?
Yeah. I also think I came at Bitcoin originally from Saifedean's perspective, which is that when you have hard money that truly exists, you can't get upside down because either you have it or you don't.
Yeah.
But there's an intermediary step between us and Saifedean's hyper-Bitcoinization world, which is Chad Michael Saylor's dropping the madness of fiat world on top of Bitcoin and using it for some insane infinite money glitch type stuff. So I want to keep my mind open and I want to explore that world. And I know having you by my side, we are going to be and already have explored that world.
Yeah.
And I would like to get to the point, just like we met those guys at the meetup last night, they understand Bitcoin from a technical perspective to where he knows he can turn off his node and only turn it on and get it updated when he's ready to make a transaction with it. I was like, dude, you're insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. And I'm not underneath this financial piece either, you know?
Yeah.
I do feel like I grasp Bitcoin as the hardest money and what that means in a far future state. But today's technical and financial elements, I'm still working.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. All right. Next one here. Beware of centralized platforms. Real funny conversation last night. We were talking about why is it that Fidelity has like grasps the concept of self-custody, but BlackRock has all their Bitcoin custodied by Coinbase.
Saylor as well.
What?
Saylor's MicroStrategy's coin is with Coinbase.
What?
Yeah, bye.
Okay. I mean, I'm the first to admit I don't know obviously everything there is to know about it, but at my base level of knowledge, it doesn't make sense to me right now. Why you would do that? But I don't know. Comment. Maybe if you really want to do it up big and you have some insight on that, go to satchats.com, sign yourself up, come on the show and explain it to me, because I don't get it.
Yeah. There must be something about a business not being able to custody or maybe to de-risk custody somehow by putting it on an exchange like Coinbase that might have some insurance.
Yeah.
But Fidelity is run by, I think it's Abby, who is the Chad. She's her own little Wall Street Chad.
I connected with her on LinkedIn. I messaged her.
Yeah, we want her to come on.
I got the LinkedIn Gold, so I can message anybody. It's like abs, Sat chats. Okay?
Yeah, come on. Yeah, and make the case for people to drop their retirement into your ETF, because I did.
Come have some fun. Yeah, Stuart.
But
Stuart's a big customer.
To go back to your point, I'm not sure why I would go buy Ithaca hummus and then put it in your fridge.
Right.
I want that in my fridge.
Yes.
I want access to my Ithaca hummus when I'm ready to have access to my Ithaca hummus. I don't want to have to go to your house, into your fridge, and go get my hummus when I'm ready for it. No, man, I don't want that.
And you also don't want to have to trust me. We're going on a tangent of this analogy, but you don't want to have to trust me that I'm keeping my refrigerator at the right temperature either.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if I'm abusing the assets that I'm holding for you?
What happens if you crack open my Ithaca hummus classic?
Yeah.
Pop that little seal, mix it up with your woven wheat, take a bite, cap it back, put it in there. You've taken just one bite. I'm just taking one bite.
Yeah.
Right? What happens if you do that?
Yeah.
But you tell me all three of my tubs are good to go in there.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We got to figure that out.
All right. And everyone misses the boat at first.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But Victor missed it.
Yeah, he did.
He had the chance. He had the chance to buy a $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, which would be $1 billion today. Did not do it. And then Brian Armstrong, I think is his last name,
founder of Coinbase,
sent him a Bitcoin as part of setting up an account on his behalf just to pump his own numbers at the beginning. And Victor was like, I don't even know what this is. And he sent it.
Brian Armstrong, if you're listening, come on to Satchats.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go to the website because I don't know. There's no other way to do it. You go to the website, satchats.com, click on book now, book yourself a slot. We can do this virtually, but please come on and help us understand what the value proposition of a Coinbase is to someone like Michael Saylor or BlackRock. I'm sure there is one. I just don't understand it, and I would love to understand that so that I can explain it to people if I'm asked.
And you can make the case, Brian, for our audience of beginners to use Coinbase as an easy way to get started, right?
Yeah.
As much as we're all about keeping our hummus in our own fridges,
maybe we're missing something.
Number 3, Justin, was just talking to me yesterday about buying on Coinbase, and then he takes it into his own custody fairly frequently. And let us know, okay? Holler. And if anybody out there in our audience of Satillionaires knows this fellow, Brian, reach out to him on our behalf because we want to hear.
Yeah, Victor does. All right. Let's muscle through these inaccuracies. Looks like there's only one for Victor's episode.
So inaccuracies or mistakes from number 31, Victor. He claimed a satellite would preserve the Bitcoin blockchain even if Earth goes offline for 10 years. Chap clarified that a company, it looks like, called Blockstream has satellites broadcasting Bitcoin data, but they don't host the blockchain independently. They mirror the blockchain and help with broadcasting transactions to offline regions. They can't keep the blockchain updated if the entire internet or power grid fails for 10 years.
Guess what, Chappie? They don't need to update anything if the internet on Earth isn't working because there aren't any transactions happening.
And I think Victor may have said that basically if something comes back online, then maybe the blockchain info from the satellite would come back down and you would keep rolling.
The last available
kind of like
record.
Simple Steve turning off his node and then just updating it when he's ready. I don't know. Plus, who knows if Chappie even has this right? I would like to go deep into this and understand what Bitcoin's resiliency against global catastrophe is.
You know, I'm sure it's more than is published out there.
Yeah.
Like Bitcoiners are not, they're playing 3D chess, popular term these days, but they're playing 3D chess, right? They're making moves to secure the blockchain and the entire Bitcoin network and not telegraphing them to the entire world, surely, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, there's so many whales in the shadows. They're deep because, by the way, scientists still don't know where blue whales go. Did you know this?
No.
They can only track blue whales so far before they disappear somewhere in the ocean. They are going too far out into the middle of a big ocean. They're going too far down. Scientists can't even track these blue whales until they reappear. And guess what? These Bitcoin blue whales, same way.
Yeah.
They're so far into the Pacific Ocean, way down deep. You know, like, you don't even know where I am. You don't know what I'm doing.
Totally off the beam.
They don't feel any need to advocate for Bitcoin because they know Bitcoin's going to win whether we advocate for it or not. They know Bitcoin's already won. Like it's out of control, dude.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
Yeah.
So some open conversational threads from number 29, John. Entrepreneurship as an alternative to wage labor. And you heard me mention that at the beginning of this rehash. We touched on entrepreneurship as a way to reclaim value that one creates, but we didn't fully explore it in practical terms or in terms of how to use Bitcoin to capture that. Could be good for when he comes back on in 9.
If you're willing to take on all the risk, then you can have all the reward, right? I think it really depends on your risk tolerance.
Number 30, Tristan, what is the tipping point for businesses to adopt Bitcoin operationally, right? So we left that open-ended, but we tied it to user demand and to broader payment system integration. So could have been, we're not really a prediction show, but it could be interesting to understand when he thinks that might happen. Number 30, Tristan, again, will more companies allow expenses in Bitcoin soon? Like, will they pay their employees in Bitcoin? Will they pay their vendors in Bitcoin? That could be cool. I would love to get paid in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. Companies follow the demand, right? Companies will follow the demand for their customers. They'll follow the demand for their employees. So when employees start demanding it more, then that creates an opportunity, and some entrepreneur will step in and solve that.
So last 2 open conversational items here from number 31, Victor. Will decentralized Bitcoin lending platforms mature by 2025? And also a deeper explanation of, he talked about, I think it was like, it says liquid loans or pulse chain.
Yeah.
So again, I'm just stacking dust over here. I mean, I don't have enough Bitcoin to even, they're like, whatever, get shoo. But if I had a Bitcoin, 2 Bitcoin, 3 Bitcoin, I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean take it to Pulse Chain and get a stable coin? And then, cause he was talking about some and I get, it's funny because I feel like a lot of our beginners struggle with the concept of exchanging Bitcoin for cash before buying something. And I'm like, it's so easy. What do you mean? But here I am struggling with the concept of exchanging Bitcoin as collateral for cash or for another cryptocurrency or for a stable, like whatever. And then I just don't know enough about it. I mean,
it's like anything that's new to you. You know, you have to do it and probably do it in a small, controlled way initially, get some experience with it, and then you can build on that.
Yeah. It would be interesting to try. Like, I wonder what the smallest amount of Bitcoin you can put up as collateral. Does a platform like Ledin let you take 5 million sats and, 0.05 Bitcoin and go get $4,000 or $5,000 with it?
But I think, yeah. There are, I don't know if it's them, but there are definitely platforms that service all different size customer.
And to Victor's point, he wants you to choose decentralized collateral platforms because if you have this beautiful decentralized Bitcoin, why centralize it at a place for collateral when there are like blockchain driven decentralized options that mean you can't get your, we don't want our Bitcoin getting rug pulled. He doesn't want Bitcoin as collateral getting rug pulled either.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to learn here. There's a lot to talk about and unpack here. I'm definitely not at a level of understanding in this realm to give me the comfort that I would need to really give advise in any way. Because I think there's just, the more steps there are, the more you have to learn. You have to learn about each one,
Yeah. But I just like we ask our guests to go slow. Let's just stack $50 this month.
Yeah.
I like the idea of trying it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I would love to be a guy who has enough wealth to hand it out to someone else and be like, yeah, go make me more wealth, my wealth, fool.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
So that was the rehash for number 29, John, the entrepreneur. Number 30, Tristan, the kind of like business Bitcoin aspect. And number 31, Victor, who is that Ukrainian collateral. That dude was the bomb.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed the rehash. Smash the subscribe button to claim your slot for the Million Sats giveaway and to help us unlock a live show Friday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, and to give a new Bitcoiner his laser eyes. Remember, Sat Chat's rehash is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. See you on the next one.